The crypto market is expected to reach 1 billion users by 2030, and the problem is that each user chooses a different blockchain, and it's currently very difficult to swap crypto cross-chain, and there's not many DEXs out there that allow you to do that. Currently, we only have Thorchain, but long-term, it's not going to be able to handle all the transaction volume, it's not going to be able to scale, and there needs to be alternatives. So today's video, I want to talk about a friendly fork of Thorchain. It's not trying to compete or completely take over Thorchain. It's simply trying to act as an alternative to Thorchain, and it's called Maya Protocol. Maya Protocol is a friendly fork of Thorchain, and ultimately its goal is to help people swap their crypto cross-chain, because like I said, we have Cardano, Ethereum, Solana, many layer 1 blockchains out there, and ultimately long term you're going to need to be able to swap your crypto cross-chain as you're working on different projects, you're interacting with different games, and you're simply using blockchain in general. So Maya Protocol is a Cosmos SDK based decentralized liquidity protocol that enables users to natively swap across blockchains. Maya is a friendly fork of Thorchain, and ultimately they maintain backward compatibility and complete it with new unique features, innovation, and reliability. So the thing is when you look at Thorchain, its native ecosystem token is called Rune, R-U-N-E, and that is for transaction fees, for cross-chain swaps, and it's how the entire ecosystem runs. It's on R-U-N-E. But if you're looking at Maya, the equivalent for that, for Maya Protocol, is called Cacao, C-A-C-A-O. And the cool thing about this token is that Cacao is Maya Protocol's native ecosystem token. It is ultimately there for security, liquidity, and value. There's a limited supply of Cacao, and we'll talk about that in a minute. It helps with liquidity and security as well. But the key thing that differentiates Cacao versus Rune for Thorchain is that Maya Protocol and Cacao ultimately has innovation such as liquidity nodes, which helps the protocol reach 2x capital efficiency. And aside from the biggest chains like ETH, BTC, and Binance Smart Chain, Binance will also integrate with different chains from Thorchain, which is a reason why people would use Maya over using, let's say, Thorchain, because if they wanted to swap, let's say, Dash or KUJI or ADA, then Thorchain cannot integrate every single chain because of node operator limitations. That is why with Maya Protocol, you can do all of that with these new innovations in place. But when you're looking at Cacao, the thing is up and coming in just the next 30 days, less than 30 days, there's going to be a major launch for Cacao. And what it is, this is going to be a fair launch, because ultimately with this launch, it's going to be taking place on March 7th, 2023, so less than 30 days away, coming up very quickly. And the way to actually get involved and why it is so important to get involved with this launch is that basically there's only going to be 100 million Cacao tokens. 90% of these tokens are going to be distributed all throughout this launch. So all these tokens are going to be distributed through this launch. If you don't get into the launch, you're going to have to buy them from someone else long term. You're going to have to pay more than you would right at the beginning. But the way it works is there's 3 main phases. The first is just boosting the liquidity. You can provide liquidity for the Maya Protocol by depositing assets like BTC, ETH, and Rune, because it is a friendly fork of Thorchain's ecosystem. And then you're going to be able to get Cacao tokens airdropped to your wallet. So 90% of the Cacao tokens that are distributed to the participants are going to be proportional to their liquidity contribution. And the other 10% is going to be going to the impermanent loss protection treasury. So for example, let's say if you deposit BTC and you provide liquidity for BTC. If BTC is 40% of the liquidity raised, well then that pool in particular receives 40% of the Cacao allocation, meaning that you'll receive the Cacao tokens. And it's the same for all the other assets you can deposit and provide liquidity for. So the easiest way to think about this is when you participate in the liquidity auction, all you need to do is if you put, let's say, $5,000 of BTC into the auction, you'll get $5,000 worth of Cacao. It's 1-to-1 USD value. Same if you did with Ethereum. If you put in $5,000 of Ethereum, you would get $5,000 worth of Cacao. Exactly 1-to-1 USD value. So the key thing with this is that ultimately, if you believe in crypto long term, you think that there's going to be cross-chain swaps needed, well, there's going to need to be more than just Thorchain. There's going to need to be like a friendly fork of it. There's going to need to be alternatives out there, and Maya Protocol is aiming to do exactly that. So they do have this liquidity. They do have this fair launch taking place on March 7th, so I would check that out and get involved if you want to like earn some passive income, provide liquidity to a rapidly growing decentralized liquidity protocol, and it's just something that you definitely should take part in. So it's going to be available on Thor Wallet, DEX, Asgard DEX, or Mayanade CLI. Those are the three ways that you can ultimately interact with Maya Protocol and participate in the liquidity auction on March 7th. But the easiest way, in my opinion, to participate in the liquidity auction is just through Thor Wallet, that first one listed. They're a partner to Maya Protocol. They are the most widely used out of all of these listed, and I just personally am going to be using Thor Wallet. So definitely check that one out. Now let's talk about a few things with Maya Protocol. So when you're looking at Maya Protocol, the things that stand out to me is that it has two main tokens. Like we said, Cacao is its native ecosystem token, but it also has Maya. Maya is the token that ultimately is a way to generate passive income long term, because with Maya, the thing is that Maya holders ultimately receive 10% of the total revenue of Maya Protocol, meaning that as people transact and cross-chain swap their crypto, there's going to be small fees generated every single time an event takes place in the protocol. Then anyone who owns Maya tokens is going to receive benefits from it. They're going to receive payouts consistently every single 24 hours in the form of Cacao for simply holding Maya tokens. So basically, it's like if you want to help the ecosystem grow long term, you want to have benefits and earn passive income from liquidity pools. That's simple. You simply deposit, your assets onto the platform. You can receive it that way. But if you want to take it to the next level and you believe in Maya Protocol long term, you can either go ahead and just buy Maya tokens, or if you are a Rune holder or a MayaMask NFT holder, you actually get airdrop of Maya. So that is another way to get involved. You don't just have to buy Maya tokens. You can be a Rune holder or a MayaMask NFT holder and get airdropped Maya tokens. And with Maya token, you get an additional layer of like passive income from getting paid 10% of the total protocol's revenue every 24 hours. So that is pretty cool. Last few things with Maya Protocol is going to be with what is actually going on with the differences between Maya Protocol and with Thorchain, because I've been seeing a lot of people talk about this on Twitter, message me on Twitter about this upcoming launch, and they're saying, well, why would I use Maya Protocol if it's just a friendly fork of Thorchain? Why wouldn't I just use Thorchain? But the problem is that Thorchain has a few key problems long-term that are going to become more prevalent long-term. The first is that Thorchain needs a universal back-end provider. Thorchain cannot grow fast enough to capture all the addressable market, and Thorchain ultimately will hit and max out for its TPS, transactions per second, because it's not going to be able to process, hundreds of thousands, millions of transactions per second as more people get involved in crypto long term. So right now it's fine. It's able to handle everything, but long term it could become a big problem. There's a few other things as well, but ultimately, in my opinion, I see it as Thorchain is not going to be able to handle all cross-chain swaps long term. It is going to have a lot of issues in terms of TPS. It's going to potentially have outages, and that is why you need to have a backup. So like, for example, in traditional finance and traditional financial markets, you see that we have not just one payment processing company, we have like Visa and MasterCard. Both networks generate hundreds of thousands, like loads of transaction volume, and when people use their credit or debit card to pay for goods and services, they don't have to worry about one of them falling or failing or something happening to it. If obviously they've been proven out long term, they've scaled up, but ultimately there's always a backup. If something were to happen, you can always use a different network. So that is like how you could think of Maya Protocol and Thorchain. So ultimately, I would say check out this protocol. Maya Protocol does have their up and coming fair auction taking place on March 7th. It is definitely worth checking out. Pretty simple to take part in. All you need to do is take part in it using your Thor wallet, or you could use one of the other dexes we talked about, and definitely also check them out on their Discord, on their Twitter, and all their other social media platforms. So let me know your thoughts, but hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. See ya.